It is always said, sir, vindication is in the womb of time. Musah Dankwah of Global Info Analytics, he has been vindicated. Now, we any poor or the battle mountain about a year Akwatia by election, and over 2024 election, polls are whatever two mountain say NDC ever winning, and Akwatia by election polls no. Ni nyinaa no abam sɛnea wɔsi predict yɛ ne pɛpɛɛpɛ na deɛ ɛbɛkɔ so ɛyɛ controversy ɛma amanfoɔ ɛdrage no ɛyɛ the exit poll a ɔde bɛto mmɔnten ɔno ankasa abɛdi nsɛm wei ho nkɔmmɔ results a ɔno ankasa kɔɔ grounds nneɛma a kyɛ sɛ wɔkɔyɛ ɛyɛ questions a ɔmo kɔbusabusaeɛ wabɛkyerɛ nsɛm mu saa nso ɛna ɛyɛ Kevin Ekobedu Taylor abɛdi nkɔmmɔ about ɛyɛ Musah Dankwah ɛde advice Ediama NDC for say, in fact, in the near future, say a Musah Dankwah any global info analytics, omo the poll be able to monty and when NDC for and friend diagro. Among active send a meet me as a reverse no and somebody Oma Babidin Komo, Musah Dankwah Abecher Kevin Taylor, and so Babidin Komo. Yes, I say, and free Kevin Taylor, or no name some with Higu Honum artists, Walker, a Musah Dankwah of global info analytics. Once
this man, a friend of Musah Dankwah. We are not supposed to play with this man. Biame Juma, when the field. Now, this man is a pollster. In recent times, in the history of Ghana politics, or one of the most credible pollsters in Ghana, we cannot underestimate. Now, I'm speaking to the NDC. Musah Dankwah, projections, any predictions are which is backed by research, backed by science, factual research, okay, say election way, by election way, from omo research or my year, and yet hearsay, and yet speculative, research on the ground, practical research backed by maths and science, He was able to tell Ghana for say from Omo research Akwatia, the NDC was going to win this election by 55%. Today, the NDC are lingering around 53 to 55% in these elections. It is not easy for somebody to go out there and go into a community, research, go down and get to know, say, this is how it is going to look at the end of the day. Say this is where it's going to. This is how it's going to look, and this is not the first time Musah Dankwah predicted elections in Ghana. In fact, he predicted John Mahama's victory. He has predicted so many elections in Ghana. It is shocking to know. Say margin of error. No credit some time. Now we start to ask ourselves, how is he able to get it so right and so close? I know the NPP as a political party. Jimmy. Say MPP Nimnyansa from the time Musah Dankwah started a polls or Ghana, a analysis papa ni research papa backing polls majority of the polls no end to fast no the NPP will sit down and at least say mo woni krampo say onye MPP ni now your NDC ni at least his track record should tell the party say this is a guy who is credible. We need to at least look at the things he does, look at his data and work on ourselves. But it is looking like the NPP no way Jimmy. Now, my advice will go to the NDC. This man is an asset, a Ghana asset. Whatever he's doing, he's getting it right. I don't know, I don't care about his political affiliation. So far, from Ejuma wa yeri nyina kyerɛ sɛ, ɛba na Ejuma dia, it is not about liking this person or not liking this person, or believing in this party or not believing in this party. He has stayed in the middle to do the job diligently and neutrally. And the projections are in normal day polling, it's difficult to even come 20% to a predicted number. But, and then with Tumia Pruvacha Ghana for say, Musah Dankwah, the projections and then the research, we cannot underestimate and take it for granted. I would like to send an advice to the NDC. In the future, so Musah Dankwah ever out with any kind of polls or prediction, it does not go well for the NDC. That will be the time for you people to look at the polls, his research to correct your mistakes.
Yengotie eye Musah Dankwah waba bedi nkomo na wa react on the results at a free eye Akwatia by election hodom ebaye. Wedi nkomo akwa details on how or no ankasa ebe arrive on eye the prediction our de betudwa say NDC ebe we ne Akwatia by election.
What is interesting is that I mean, we have a winner for this election, but the man of the match, the man of the moment happens to be Musah Dankwah. Yeah, so Musah Dankwah joins us on the phone lines to share some insights with us. Good morning, Musah. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Caleb.
Good. Now, you have said that this particular poll is one of the toughest in your work as a pollster so far. Tell us why.
Caleb, we've always had the challenge of people sometimes being not candid with us with their responses, especially those from the smaller ethnic minority groups in certain constituencies. But that has not been that kind of profound like in Akwatia. We're able to kind of assess what they want to do in a good measure. But for Akwatia, in the first poll that we conducted, whereas NDC was behind among the accounts by 6%, they were also behind among all the other ethnic groups that vote for them traditionally. I mean, the Moli Dagbanis, the Ghana Dangbes, and the Evers in those areas. We understand perfectly that when they are not in their areas of dominance, they tend to take cover because of marginalization or so many other things. Yesterday, the final poll we conducted, they realigned and they were voting as historically we've known them to vote. So after the predictions, it was based on the fact that they are going to vote the way they said they will vote. But in the exit poll, I became nervous. Almost every other ethnic minority group, except Akan, NDC was losing them in the exit poll. And I said, goodness God, what is happening today? But then when I did some analysis, I also found out that these guys may not be candid with the responses they are giving us. So I became very nervous at some point, but then I took comfort in the fact that 50% of the respondents were saying that they will be driven to vote based on developmental projects. And about 60% of those people were voting for NDC. Then I knew that NDC was going to win, even though it's difficult and you can't predict what these guys were doing. So in the exit poll, actually MPP was leading 51% and NDC 49%. And I said, if this is the exit poll, that means NDC has won. Because these ethnic minority groups, they were playing with us in the field.
But how were you able to come to such conclusions?
We have experience in this job for many years. In Asin North, for example, the final poll we did in Asin North, MPP was leading by 1%. And in the same poll, we saw these ethnic groups also saying that they were voting for MPP's candidate. And in the end, we saw what happened in Asin North. That was exactly what happened in Akwatia yesterday. It wasn't as close as I was nervous about.
Right. Now, I'm looking at your by-election report, and you have broken things down, factors with greater influence on how voters tend to vote. And you're saying that many of the people you sampled or surveyed said they were looking for developmental projects. And then you also give us factors with greater influence on how voters intend to vote. And then the education background played some role. Throw some light on what the people were expecting, the track record of the political parties' influence, and the new outlook of the voters in 2025 as was exhibited in the Akwatia elections.
Caleb, about 50% said developmental projects. Economy was about 15%. You have education and then jobs, galamsey, 5%, sympathy would about 5%. Clearly, the dynamics of what people take to vote in this country has moved beyond sympathy when an MP dies. And then also we must always pay attention to the demography of the people. In banking, they call something KYC, know your customer. I think the political parties must adopt know your constituents. Clearly, we underestimated or misunderstood who are Akwatia voters. Akwatia voters, according to GSS, are highly educated. And that showed in the poll, in the sense that majority of the people, over 60% of them, have senior high and tertiary level qualification. Their needs are different. They are not galamsey goers. Galamsey goers are those normally in the no educational column or junior high qualification column. So if you are pivoting your campaign, you must pivot it in the demography that has the majority. If you are picking a candidate, you must pick someone that appeals to the majority of the people you are looking at. And that MPP got it wrong. They ignore the demography and they pay dearly for that.
So they are picking a candidate from Buedua, which happens to be the stronghold of the NDC, didn't help at all, based on the educational backgrounds and the aspirations, as well as the age demographics of the electorates.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Buedua has the eastern part and the western part. The eastern part is where MPP does well. And yesterday, the numbers that came from there were abysmal. And in the NDC side, they were winning with a huge margin. And this is home ground of Esumed. And the numbers that came from Wenchitu, you could see they were not enthusiastic. They were voting the other way. So we have to really pay attention to data and make decisions based on data and data alone. Because when we get emotional, emotions these days don't win elections. The Gen Z voters are different. They are very deadly and unforgiving. Your messaging must be apt and it must target their concerns.
Well, Musah, while all these are true, we did see the manifestation of money in this particular by-election. Wouldn't you say that played a role as well?
Absolutely not.
Really?
We've done a survey in this country before the last election. And we measured what proportion of voters will take money and switch their vote. That number was 7%.
So that is that from Musah Dankwah from Global Info Analytics. Omo poa omo de beto mountain artist omo predict a win for NDC party no. Dowona TV. Chira wadwen e wo comment section.